Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Kat. I do makeup things on here and then sometimes fitnessy things if people continue to ask me to do them. For today, this is going to be round 2 of makeup that I regret purchasing. There is a first version that I did of that quite a while ago, and since then I have amassed just a shit ton more makeup. There is a lot that I regret getting. And the main reason why I regret it is that because of where I live, I don't have a lot of makeup stores that I can actually go into to test things out and do swatches and whatever else. And so that makes it really, really hard for me to kind of see if I'm going to like something in advance because I'm ordering it online. And so it's just whatever the company feels like posting as their pictures, and I have to hope that it's true to color. That's where I tend to go a little bit wrong. Another reason why I tend to regret getting things is that I listen to the hype from very heavily followed YouTubers where they talk about different products that are like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, you're gonna love it. And then I get it and I'm like, I fucking hate it, I don't know what you're talking about. There's a lot of that. So we're just gonna run through a bunch of different products that I really regret getting. If you agree with me and that sounds like an awesome thing to you, to just hear me just destroy some makeup, stick around. Hi, editing me here. Watching that back, that was a super aggressive intro. I can assure you the rest of the video is not as aggressive as that was. Definitely still pooping on some makeup, but not in like an angry way. I don't know what that was. Because that's what we're doing today. Alright, so the first thing up is going to be an eyeshadow primer. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I don't wear eyeshadow primer a ton. I tend to go with the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Face Primer on my eyes, just because it doesn't get overly sticky and it also doesn't cause things to like catch on there or get patchy or whatever. And so I don't use eyeshadow primers a lot. But in this case, I was like, well, since I love the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer, I'm gonna get the eyeshadow primer potion from Urban Decay. And because it's from the same brand, obviously it's gonna work. It didn't. It was very thick. That's what she said. I'm still 12 years old. My brush was catching every 2 seconds when I was trying to blend it out. This was definitely something where a lot of people were super duper hyping it up and they were like, this is the best eyeshadow primer ever, you're gonna love it. I don't. I hate it. Sorry, but super duper regret that one. The next thing up is that I have found I'm not a huge fan of like the face complexion products that have multiple things, like whether it be a mix of blush and bronzer or a mix with like highlighters and bronzers and blushes and whatever else included in there. I don't like that. I like when it's just one thing. And so in that particular instance, I had gotten from Physicians Formula, this is a palette from them. It's a bronze booster palette, and it has in there 2 shades that I think are reasonably able to be used. Like this one's for sure a bronzer. This one you could probably use as a bronzer or a highlight depending on how light of a skin tone you have. This guy for sure only could be used as a highlighter. I think also one of the things that I hate is that I like matte bronzers, and everything in this one was shimmery, and so it just like glitter threw up on my face. And sometimes I want that, sometimes I don't, and most cases I don't, because I like for my eyeshadow to be what speaks for me and the inner rainbow child. This guy was just not doing it for me. Along that same ilk, from e.l.f., I had gotten a highlighter palette that looked like this. I just found that the shades on there, they weren't super duper impactful. Like if you get like a Kaleidos highlighter, you're gonna get like, I'm wearing Kaleidos today and it's just boom, pow, like in your face highlighter. And these, I felt like I could have almost used them as setting powder. Ooh, burn. Because they were so light and it did nothing. And so I was real disappointed with that, because I definitely want my highlighters to be like rah. And this was literally like, I guess, a glow from within, but not even that really. It just came across like nothing. Next thing up is another highlighter from Too Faced, the Candlelight Glow. This is a rosy glow highlighting duo, and this is what it looks like inside there. I don't like when within the same pan it's 2 different shades that can mix together, because I either want to use one shade or I want to use the other. I don't really want to mix them together. So that to me is a little bit frustrating when there's no barrier between the 2 shades, because then it's guaranteed that I'm gonna end up smushing them together to where it's just one shade instead of the two different ones. I mean, if I'm okay with mixing it, then it's fine, but it's one of those things where there's no going back once you have mixed the two. And so I don't particularly like that. So from that perspective, I hate packaging like this where there's no break between the two. Sorry. Okay, up next is a blush from NARS, and we've seen me use this in another video. This is the shade Matahari. It's a lot. I really like NARS. They're definitely one of my favorite brands as far as like consistency and quality of products. I love their concealer, their Radiant Creamy Concealer. Their foundation is really good. Other blushes that I have from them, this one in particular, just, it happened, I got it after COVID started, when they didn't have like samples of what things look like for you to swatch in the store. And so I got it and I was like, this will be fine, without actually looking. The only thing that I looked for on there was, I was like, is it a matte shade or is it a glitter? If it's a glitter, I'm not gonna get it. And if it's a matte shade, I will. And so it was the first matte shade that I found, and it looks ridiculous on my face. I am way too pasty white to be wearing this shade. And so I put it out, like I barely tapped into the palette with my brush, and it was just like BAM! So just shade wise, it wasn't great for me, but consistency wise, great. Next up, we have 3 liquidy products. The first one being the Gigi Gorgeous Body Glow. Really, this is for any kind of liquid body glow, bronzing type things. I find that they are usually too dark. Even the lighter shades are too dark for me, to where it does not look natural at all. It looks like I took fake tanner and just streakily smeared it on myself. And so I can't really use these. So I regret getting this because shade-wise it just doesn't do anything good for me. The next one up is from Almay, the Make Them Jelly Highlight Illuminator. This is the jelly on the inside, but it is super duper glittery. And consistency wise, it is very smooshy. I think the primary thing that I don't like with these, I mean, this is actually one that's kind of fun to use on the body because it just adds like a little bit of a shimmer. And so it's not overly crazy on there, but it's just, jelly products dry out for me so quickly. So once I open them, if I'm not going to use it regularly, it's like a waste of money, because within like a couple weeks it's already dried out. And I don't know if anyone knows if there's a better way to store it than just it existing in my house, please let me know, because as of right now, me just storing it in my normal area where I store all of my makeup, it dries out so quickly after you open it. And so it's just annoying because I don't like spending money on jelly products that are then gonna dry out 2 seconds later. And the last one is from Farsali. This one is also an illuminator. This is in the shade Jelly Bean. And they always put on there that the expiration is like 12 months, which again, no. The product's gonna die like in a couple weeks. And this one, so the firmness of this jelly one, like you can feel it jiggling like jello. And so that to me actually makes sense for jelly. This guy, however, if I tip this, it will all run out. It is super duper runny, super liquidy, and it honestly, like, let me get in here close. Like, I'm not sure if you can see that. Like, it is just runny, and it looks gross. Like, it does not, thank God at least doesn't smell bad, but it doesn't look like something that I really want to put on my face or skin. So, definitely regret getting this one. Along those lines, another product that I regret getting consistency-wise is from Stila. This is a type of foundation. They call it their Lingerie Soufflé Skin Perfecting Color, and it's meant to be like a lighter foundation. Consistency-wise, also, is just, it's almost like a mousse, and I have not been able to figure out what a good way of applying that to my face is. I've tried using a sponge, I've tried using brushes, I've tried using just my hands, and no matter what I use, it is super streaky, doesn't blend well, and so I honestly don't understand what the fuck this is for. Like, it's in a super cute jar, and so my intent is I'm probably just gonna empty the contents of the jar out and then use this to like store earrings, I don't know, whatever the fuck. But like, this product is trash. Like, I can't use it. Like, it won't work for me at all. So I hates it. And along those lines, another foundation. I'm not going to get into the Pat McGrath one. I discussed that one in the past Makeup I Regret Buying video. An update to that is another luxury brand, Charlotte Tilbury. So this is their Airbrush Flawless Foundation, and it says that it stays all day and night. Mine is in the shade just Neutral 3. It was a little bit light for my skin tone, but not too far off. But the primary issue that I had was that when I applied it, you could literally see every bit of texture on my face. Like, it looked awful. It wasn't one of those ones like, so when I use the Hourglass Stick Foundation, I sometimes like run into the issue that when I'm first putting it on that it's kind of patchy and it doesn't blend very easily. But then as like my skin, the heat from my skin warms it up a little bit, then it becomes much more easily blended. So I'll usually apply it, blend it out a little bit, and then wait a couple minutes for my skin to warm it up and then blend it out the rest of the way, and it looks beautiful. This is not one of those ones where you need to heat it up or whatever to get it to work better. It just doesn't work at all. And so severely regret spending the money on that one, because much like the Pat McGrath foundation, Charlotte Tilbury ain't cheap. So really appreciate wasting that much money on a product that looks horrible on my face. I'm like sweating and my nose is running because I've been doing nothing but cleaning my house and my yard in preparation for this move, and so just it's like my whole face is just running and dying. Next up are two eyeshadow sticks. These are from Kiko, which is an Italian brand that I get here in Germany a lot. They're just little sticks and you can kind of see the shades at the bottom. I do like eyeshadow sticks. Like, I have some others on here that I like very much, like from Bobbi Brown. Ironically, we all know how much I usually hate Bobbi Brown, but this type of stick I really like because it's super easy to apply and it blends out really nicely, and so I love sticks like this. The issue with this one, however, is that the applicator, I mean, first there's a really weird spring on here for opening and closing it that just seems super ineffective, but then the brush is almost like one of those really old school makeup eyeshadow sponges. You get very little product and it doesn't blend out very easily on your eyes. So I find application wise that it doesn't work very well for me, and the product dries out very, very quickly. And so I regret getting these two just because I felt like I couldn't really get the product to work very well for me, and so I regret it. But I do like Kiko in general. I have a decent number of things from them, and they were actually one of the brands that were the first makeup brands that I purchased a lot back in the day when I was first starting out with makeup, and so there's much sentimentality for that one, but those specifically for their products I was not a fan. Next up are some lip products. In the beginning of the video, I was talking about how I don't like when things aren't true to color. That is true for quite a few of the lip products that I have on here. So we'll start with MAC. I had gotten over the holidays, they had like a bunch of holiday color, like multi-packs that you could get of different shades. And so the first are 3 liquid lip shades, which in the packaging looked super cute. You have like a lighter mauvey pink, then a darker mauve, and then this really pretty kind of gold shade. And so I was like, these are beautiful. And then for the lip gloss side, lip glass, same difference. There were these 3 shades. So you had like a purpley gloss, and then a light pink gloss, and then a slightly darker pink gloss. In the packaging, they looked really, really pretty. I was like, these are gonna be amazing. I love them. And unfortunately, none of them were true to color, which was very, very frustrating for me, especially for the liquid lipsticks. For these 2 in particular, they ran significantly darker than what they look like in the packaging, which for me is very frustrating because, as we know, I'm not a huge fan of wearing dark lip shades. I'm starting to get better at it, but I'm just not great at staying in the lines, and so I typically prefer going with lighter shades of things because then it's less noticeable that I suck at application. And so finding out in the middle of a trip where I was just real quick trying to do some makeup and throwing on a shade that I thought was going to be very similar to my lip tone, and having it come out very dark was not great. And they're like, I didn't have like any good like makeup remover stuff, so it was just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to fucking live with this for the day. And then for the lip glosses, I found like that they started off very sticky and then they just kind of dried out super quick after the stick went away, and so it didn't really come across to me like an actual gloss. For the purple one, it actually wasn't bad, but for these two, they were also not particularly sheer. Wearing them as a gloss over the top of something else didn't really work either, because it was just kind of like, you're never gonna see it, what you were wearing underneath, because they weren't sheer, and so it just immediately covered up whatever the other shade was. And then lastly, for lip products from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I had also, for the holidays, I should just stop buying makeup for the holidays, because clearly it's a mistake every time. But I had picked up, it was like a set of 5 with 1 shimmer in there, and they're all liquid lipsticks. And so I really like neutral lip shades, but these I found to be, they look like nice beige shades, right? And so you would think that those are going to be very complementary to my skin shade, and I found that they were not super duper beigey. They were more almost grayish brown, which I don't think looks particularly good for me. And so I was like especially like this one, this is in the packaging, looks super similar to my skin tone, to where it would just be a really nice neutral and then you slap a gloss on top and it looks awesome. And it did not look like that at all. And so I'm just really kind of a little bit frustrated with a lot of the liquid lip shades that I've gotten, that they're not true to color and they end up looking like trash on my face. So that's why I just stick with glosses. Like I have a really light Bobbi Brown gloss on right now and it looks fine. I look normal. Lastly, we have some eyeshadow palettes, and the first one that really kind of frustrates me is yet again something where I followed the hype from other YouTubers, where they were just constantly talking about stuff from this particular company, and I was just like, oh great, I'm totally gonna get that because it sounds awesome. Not awesome. So in my past makeup I regret guiding, I talked about the concealer from Tarte, the Shape Tape one, and how much I hate it because it's so thick. Just dries on like spackle. It just cracks as soon as it is dry on my face, so it looks horrendous. And now let's go ahead and talk about an eyeshadow palette from Tarte. They had the Rainforest of the Sea collection that they came out with, and this is the volume 2. And when you open it up, it looks like a gorgeous neutral color story. Just a really nice travel palette with neutral shades. It did not work out for me. None of them stay on your none of them stay on your eyelid really well, and so it's like you're lucky if you get a couple hours out of this before the shades just go away and dissolve and it gets really patchy. The other thing too is that within the pan, I'm not sure if you can already see that, but like especially these lighter shades, it gets to that like hard pan feel very, very quickly, to where unless you're like gouging your brush into it or really smearing it on your finger, you can't get any product to come out of the freaking pan. And so it's so frustrating to me because I'm like, these shades look so pretty, but they're useless. And so I'm so mad about this one because this would have been such a cute travel palette. The next one is going to be from Morphe. I don't think anyone's really surprised that Morphe quality on products is not particularly great. But this one is the 15S Social Butterfly one, which is apropos. And it essentially, like, look how pretty all of these different shades are. So pretty, just the pinks and purples especially, like the matte shades over here just look gorgeous in the pan, and the shimmers look beautiful. So the entire palette, like all of the names of the shades are like hashtags or whatever for different social media things, like platforms. So you've got like Instagram and YouTube and whatever else, and so they're just like hashtag now trending and hashtag later gram, hashtag besties, hashtag influencer. So just super cringe already. But I have found that a lot of the shades in here are inconsistent, which is very frustrating. Like, I can handle it if you have like, camera shut off again mid-sentence. So I can handle it if 1 or 2 shades in a palette don't work the way that I would like for them to, but to have like easily more than half of the shades in this palette just be complete garbage is really, really frustrating, and I feel like a waste of money, and so I definitely regret getting this. This was also the only Morphe palette that I decided to buy, and I'm probably never going to buy another palette from them again, because I was just like, regardless of the asking price that they have for it, the inconsistency just really bothered the shit out of me, and so I'm not gonna try it again. Next up is going to be from Fenty Beauty, which is super duper sad for me because I love Fenty easily. I've got like a mosquito bite right here, so I keep like but I love Fenty. Their foundations, both of them, are awesome, and I just, and their like kilowatt highlighters are great. I have like so many things from her. The eyeshadow palette, the Moroccan Spice eyeshadow palette. Thankfully, I didn't pay the full price for this. I ended up getting it in that BoxyCharm box that literally had like 20 things in there from Fenty, which was just perfect. But I have found that this particular palette, the color story in the palette looks really, really pretty, especially like this blue and the pink. Like, those 2 shades to me are really, really pretty looking, but unfortunately I have found that it's not, I wouldn't say that the consistency is bad because they do blend out, but I think it's just not as like pigmented as I would like. And so you really have to build it up a lot and work with it a ton to get it to show up in a way that works. So like this eye look that I have from Kaleidos, 2 seconds and I just have boom, blue and orange. But with this one, if I wanted to try and create a look that was even closely related to this one, it would take forever because the shades don't really want to blend out very nicely. And then also, just as a side note on the packaging, just I don't like the slick plastic on there because you can just see fingerprints everywhere, and so it just makes it to where like when you're looking at it you're just like, well, this already looks grody because you just touched it everywhere. And so I don't like the packaging either for it. And then the last thing is from Urban Decay. I actually have 2 palettes from them. One of them is a smaller one. It's the On the Run palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. One of the shades did break a little bit, but it's super cute with the blue, and I don't know why I didn't pull both of them out because they're kind of, it's the same complaint for both. So this is the Born to Run palette, and this is what this one looks like on the inside. Lots of different shades, but so part of it that's already a little bit frustrating to me is just when I look at the palette already, I feel like the shades could be so much brighter already just when you're looking at them. Like this, to me, it looks like an attempt at a rainbow palette, but that they just kind of got lost to where they were like, we're gonna make these shades darker. And so I find that I'm a little bit frustrated with it because there's not really any super duper bright shades in here. It just all comes across as like a little bit dull in color, which I think is a bummer. And also when I'm trying to use the shades, I find that they are a little bit patchy. And so there's really only 2 types of formulas in here. You have a few matte shades and then you have some metallics. And the matte shades are okay, but the metallics are just so beyond underwhelming. And so I just definitely regret getting this one, which is a bummer because I also really like Urban Decay. Some of their other palettes I think I've had better results with, a little bit better, but I also have 2 others from them. I have the Ultraviolet that just recently came out, and then I also have the Reloaded. So 2 of their Naked palettes. This is what the Naked Reloaded looks like. It's just obviously yet another neutral palette, and then this is what the Ultraviolet palette looks like. And even with the Ultraviolet one, like all of those purples that they have, like you have to work really hard to build it up. And at least in these, in person, in the pan, the shades look super duper pretty. and I can get them to work. This one is just like, it's just not worth my time. It's too frustrating, and I can't get it to do anything that I would like for it to do. And so that one was super upsetting. I mean, at least with these, they work better, and you can get them to at least create somewhat of a nice look. Just to interject real quick, I was actually able to finally get around to testing out the Ultraviolet palette like a week ago, and it does not have particularly good staying power. So I wore it for approximately 8 hours, and the pigment was already significantly diminished after, I would say, about 3 hours. And by the end of the 8, there was almost no color left. But yeah, that is the majority of the makeup recently that I regret purchasing. I also did a massive declutter of literally everything that I have, and I found that it was so much that it would literally take like 5 videos for me to cover all of that. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be actually having a video of that declutter. So I tried to at least cover some of the things that I find that I have disdain for products in this video instead. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any products in particular that you absolutely are just like, I can't believe I wasted my money on that, let me know in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this, if you want to see more of it. I mean, trashing on makeup is always a good time, I feel like, because there's a lot of things where there's tons of room for complaint. But other than that, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this content, go ahead and give me a subscribe. I put out windows. I put out video. Oh my god. I put out videos once a week at a minimum, sometimes twice a week if I have the time, which sometimes maybe, but definitely at least once a week there's a video. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you would like to. I would love that. Other than that, you guys just go have a good one.